This next one, I don't even know if I want to do this video because it sounds like narcissistic to reflect or talk about, where I've come from to where I am right now. But it seems somewhat interesting or relevant. It's not, maybe it's more just I feel a little bit nostalgic now that I've realized it's been 4 years. Let's talk about it. I'm not stealing that Good Mythical Morning. It's just the fact that that's a catchy phrase. And it was a catchy phrase before you stole it. It was just let's talk about it. Okay, so where I've come. If I have not told you until now, we can talk about it. Let's see. It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years. I recently mentioned and recently announced that I have a new job at Lucky Duck Games for being the marketing specialist. Super pumped, excited about that. But it also made me reflect a little bit on the fact that I have been trying to push into this space to some degree for 4 years now, which is a long time, but also it doesn't feel that long. I was surprised when I realized it was that amount of time. So, we were in Fort Worth from 2017 to 2020 for my wife's medical residency for family medicine. And for the first 2 years, 2017, 2018, and 2018, 2019, I taught school. So it was summertime to summertime for both of those, academic years, I guess, not really calendar years, academic years. And I taught 7th and 6th grade English and writing, and was at 2 different schools. Was depressed, but I think it was kind of, I don't know if I'd say acute. I think it was kind of surface level situational depression based off of how debilitating the public educational system is, and then also how fraught the situation was for the students that I taught, who were co-teach both gen ed and special ed students in a state where they had been tested since kindergarten, which was not my academic experience in public school. National standardized exams were not as ubiquitous and frequent as they are now. Anyways, it was a pretty demoralizing environment to be a professional. And so in the summer of 2019, after my second year of teaching, and when my daughter, who is our middle child now, but was our firstborn then, when she was, 6 months old or so, I stopped teaching. I retired early. I retired after 2 years. And I decided to push into online writing. So I have a Master's of Fine Arts. I have a graduate degree in creative writing, and had kind of taken a hiatus for those 2 years in terms of not really doing any writing. And this was not creative writing. I shifted into professional, technical writing for video games and board games. And so I kind of cold called some sites and got in on 2 different ones. One of them was a pretty brutish list-based writing setup, which I did not like. If you've seen any, Game Rant and The Gamer and a lot of the video game websites churn out an insane amount of lists because they're very clickbait friendly in terms of, top 10 games with a antagonist wielding an axe, stuff like that. So I quit that one pretty quickly, but then I moved into a new role doing video game coverage for a website called Game Tyrant, which is a sister website to a website called Geek Tyrant. And Geek Tyrant was a website that I was very familiar with in college because it was actually a news source for me in terms of just like geek culture. But the Game Tyrant was not as widely known and not as traffic successful as its sister site. Anyways, I started writing for them, and I quickly pushed into doing the video game coverage and sharing the load on that. But after a while, I kind of questioned the existence of board game coverage, to which the response was, cool, do it if you want to. None of the rest of us will, but you're welcome to, and you can be kind of the sole person there, which for me was exciting. I was like, sure, I will own the board game coverage space for Game Tyrant. Happy to do so. And that means that, in that time, in the pandemic, in which I started the pandemic early, guys. I started COVID lockdown like 6 months early, which was a great decision mentally. So yeah, I stayed home with Danny in the summer of 2019, and then obviously the beginning of 2020, the proverbial COVID hit the fan, and I was stuck in the house, deservedly so, and I was working as a board game content creator in written form for Game Tyrant. That eventually leveraged me to building enough relationships to where I did my first live stream play, which was In Too Deep, which is to this day, I think, still my favorite game from Burnt Island Games. In Too Deep is, where is it? It's somewhere. It's right here. Right there. Such a good game. I love that game. And I did a live play of that with Alex from Board Game Co. And so that was my first time meeting him. And then I inadvertently ran into Alex 2 or 3 or 4 times after that, just for demos, for live plays. Feed the Kraken, checking out Burn Cycle when Shannon was demoing it for CTG, and a couple other times. And then, Alex was very gracious, and I said, hey, I like you, Alex. Let's be friends. And Alex gave what I think, if I'm being super honest, was probably just a very genuinely kind offhand offer where he said, hey, if you ever make it up to Cleveland, be happy to host you and we could play some games. I took that upon myself to force his hand and make him make good on that. So I went up to spend time with him. In the meantime, he had introduced me to his former associate, Jesse from Quackalope, and I started shifting from doing unpaid online writing from the Game Tyrant to unpaid online writing for Jesse. And so I was managing the Quackalope blog, doing a bunch of writing there, occasionally writing a script or two for videos that needed it, and that progressed from having the job with Game Tyrant to having a job with Quackalope Games. So I worked with Jesse for maybe 2-ish years-ish. The exact chronology of that is hazy to me, because it was like this weird, organic, but also, lopsided progression from doing blog writing to doing blog writing and podcast editing, audio editing for the Quackalope podcast. I did that for a little while after Jan was reaching overload in terms of the amount of things he was juggling at the time. And then I also transitioned to just helping out with some video scripting and going up to visit Alex, and also being near Jesse and doing content with Jesse, to then subsequently going up to Cleveland only to do videos with Jesse, who, no one cannot say that he doesn't go at a breakneck pace. And, doing videos for that, and then shifting to paid, part-time communications management, where, pretty much all communications ran through me, and then also doing at the same time continued video content creation, which helped be part of the start. Doing videos with Jesse and Alex on their individual channels really helped spur on the realization and the comfort behind the camera that I realized that I could do that on my own channel and start that. So I had like a false start to Devin Talks Tabletop that was like 3 or 4 videos, and man was I uncomfortable. And also, oof, lighting was not my friend at the time. I was a pasty creeper. That's what I was in those early videos. So those went bye-bye. And then now it's a little bit better, and it's a little smidge better. So started doing that, and then come the end of last year, you know, I had my own personal creative separation from Quackalope Games that extended to a personal separation from Quackalope Games, and so that schism or that split then finished that saga of my time, and then after that I moved into Addicts Games, and so that was a video that I put out that I shared my new position, and the original hire was kind of for like marketing or for social media management, and that quickly you know, snowballed into project management because it was a need. It was a need that was there, and it was a need that is still there that I think we kind of realized mutually after the 7 months or so that I don't think I was the right fit for what Addicts wanted and what Addicts Games needed. And you know, I volunteered for the role that I had there, but and I feel like I learned a lot of good skills, and I gained a lot of value from it. And I feel like I helped move the needle on where things, you know, stood with Rove and with that game. But I think ultimately, like this role that I have with Lucky Duck, I think is better suited to what I'm good at and matches kind of the thinking that I do on how to progress things, how to grow things. And yeah, I just, you know, I've unconsciously, I was paving the way for this job and not knowing it. Like last Gamma, so not 2023 Gamma, but 2022 Gamma, I went just as myself with Daniel and Allison from, you know, Play the Game HQ, knee Kidsplaining, since that was formerly what they were called at the time. And you know, I was working and just there. Yes, babe. The magic of editing. Love you. I'll be up in like 10 minutes.
You can keep it in there.
Oh, that was a not safe for work interruption by my wife. So moving on. Where was I? Yes. I stopped working with Jesse and Quackalope, moved over to Addicts Games, did a lot of work and proud of the work that I did do, and then ultimately kind of mutual decision that it wasn't the right fit. And now I'm at Lucky Duck. And I'm excited about that. And it's kind of crazy to me. It's kind of surreal that it's been 4 years. Was not aware or conscious of how much time has passed. So excited about that. Excited that I have moved to where I am. I feel that you know, the work that I've been putting into this, I've spent a lot of time, a lot of money, you know, some people would say just putting it down the drain. For me, it was and still remains an investment. And you know, I have been putting time and energy into trying to be a part of this industry, be a part of this space, and I'm happy about it. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I've made so many good friendships, and I think that's been such a highlight for me, is all of those connections that I've made along the way. and the people that I care about. And so, yeah, 4 years, crazy. Crazy to think that it's been 4 years. But it's resulted in, what I wanted it to, which is where we're at right now. So, yeah, that was just a little bit of a timeline, look back. And, it's interesting to me to sometimes reflect on where things were and where they are now. I think that helps give us gratitude in spite of, frustrations that you have in the moment. You can see the growth that has brought you to where you are. And there's definitely been growth for me, for sure. Wasn't doing this 4 years ago, and am grateful for what I've got right now. So I think that's good for the introspective, historical deep dive on Devin's time in the industry. And I think I can wrap it up. So I've got a couple other videos I need to film, but my wife needs me. And I need a thumbnail. Why is the rum always gone? Where'd the rum go? See ya.